Imagine being thousands of miles away, an entire ocean apart, multiple continents apart, and still managing to hack into a US company's enterprise Wi-Fi network. Sounds like something right out of a spy movie. Well, this is exactly what the infamous Russian hacking group APT28, also known as Fancy Beer, pulled off using a novel technique called the nearest neighbor attack. If you're new here, my name is Day and I'm a cybersecurity engineer at Amazon. On this channel, I talk about everything cybersecurity, from career tips to deep dives into real-world attacks like this one. If you're into that, hit the like button and subscribe for more, and don't forget to join our Discord community of nearly 5,000 cybersecurity professionals for networking and career advice. Also, be sure to subscribe to our CYBERWOX Unplugged newsletter and check out our merch store for some fire winter gear like this purple team hoodie I'm wearing right now. It's pretty fire. Now let's break down how this attack happened, how it could impact not just businesses, but even residential infrastructure, and what we can do to protect ourselves. We'll start by setting the stage for our major player here, APT28, also known as Fancy Beer, also known as Forest Blizzard, and also the Russian state-sponsored hacking group linked to GRU Unit 26165. They've been conducting cyber operations since at least 2004 and are infamous for sophisticated nation-state level tactics. This time, their target was a US-based company with ties to Ukraine-related work, leveraging a creative and highly effective Wi-Fi attack. So, here's how it happened. They used what is now termed the nearest neighbor attack. The attack started with the discovery by cybersecurity company Velexity on February 4th, 2022. They noticed a server compromise at one of their customer sites in Washington, D.C., and this customer was obviously involved in Ukraine-related projects. So here's a play-by-play of how APT28 carried out their attack. So the first step is the initial breach through Wi-Fi credentials that APT28 obtained in order to gain access to the target's enterprise Wi-Fi network. They used a password spraying attack against the victim's public-facing services. Password spraying is where attackers try a small number of common passwords across many accounts in order to avoid lockouts. But there's a catch. The enterprise Wi-Fi network required multi-factor authentication, or MFA, for remote access. This blocked their attempt to use the credentials over the public web. But the Wi-Fi network itself didn't enforce MFA when accessed locally. The second step was finding a pivot. Being thousands of miles away posed a significant problem, so APT28 got creative. They compromised a nearby organization within Wi-Fi range of the target and looked for dual home devices. These are devices that have both wired and wireless connections. So, in essence, these devices acted as a bridge, allowing the attackers to connect to the target's Wi-Fi network without ever being physically present. Crazy. Then the third step, daisy chaining to the target. After breaching multiple nearby organizations, the hackers eventually found a device within range of 3 wireless access points near the windows of the target's conference room. From there, they connected to the target's Wi-Fi and began their attack. Daisy chaining with that kind of methodology is just crazy to me. But what did they do when they got inside the network? Once they got inside, APT28 used a combination of stealthy techniques and tools to achieve their goals. The first goal was lateral movement. They used a remote desktop connection, or RDP, with an unprivileged account to move laterally across the network. RDP for the win. Then, data exfiltration. The group dumped Windows registry hives, including SAM, security and system hives, compressed them into a zip archive, and then exfiltrated the data. They also relied on native Windows tools to avoid detection. Finally, they used the zero-day exploit, but this is where things get even more sophisticated. According to a Microsoft report released later, APT28 likely exploited a zero-day vulnerability in the Windows Print Spooler service, tracked as CV 2022-38028. This was a pretty common one, but they used this to escalate privileges within the victim's network, and this allowed them to execute critical payloads undetected. So why does all of this matter? I think this is a growing threat that is not just a one-off attack. It signals a broader trend that could affect not just businesses, but even homes and residential infrastructure. Before I continue with the explanation, I wanted to highlight the fact that while Russian APTs are breaking into Wi-Fi networks of US companies, over 1 billion students worldwide don't have internet access, and 52% of them are girls. These students have missed out on education, online jobs, conversations, and equal opportunities, and we've missed out on their potential too. But this is where Give Internet allows you to sponsor the devices and connectivity for these students. GiveInternet.org is a non-profit platform that makes it simple and transparent for anyone to sponsor internet access and laptops for underprivileged high school students living in refugee camps, rural areas, and underserved communities in developing countries. Working with various educational partners including the University of Geneva, MIT React, and others, they offer skills training for aspiring developers, designers, teachers, and healthcare workers. They purchase and distribute laptops to their students from refugee settlements and underserved local communities, enabling them to pursue self-improvement and job opportunities after graduation. Give Internet also maintains complete transparency about how your funds are used, and they keep meticulous financial records and share student stories, visual footage, monthly updates, and transparency reports showing you exactly how your donations are spent.
My name is Ayen Son. I'm from South Sudan. We came here around 2014 when war broke in South Sudan, and I'm living in Kakuma 3. This is my home now. Yeah, I have a mom, 2 sisters, and 1 brother. Anytime I have a free time, I always like to create something. I love graphic design because I will do a lot of things. I will be able to create more, and then this idea I create, I can share them. Through that, I can able to access many like freelancers. I can work online, and there I can earn online. Thank you.
Full disclosure, this video is not sponsored by Give Internet. They reached out to me and I was more than happy to use my platform to spread the word about their important work. Please use the link in the description below or go to giveinternet.org/cyberwox to empower the next generation and help bring someone online. Let me explain. First, you gotta think about Wi-Fi as an entry point. Most homes and small businesses have poorly secured Wi-Fi networks. Attackers could use similar techniques to daisy chain from one residential Wi-Fi network to another, targeting smart devices or home office setups. Then you gotta think about smart homes. Many smart home devices like cameras, thermostats, and speakers are connected to Wi-Fi networks with minimal security. Once they're breached, an attacker could easily spy on you, steal sensitive data, or even control your devices. And then, this one, remote work. With more people working from home, attackers could easily target residential networks to pivot into corporate systems. If you think about dual home devices like your work laptop or your printer that can connect to both your home Wi-Fi and your company's VPN, this makes the possibilities endless. So, could we possibly see more attacks like this? Absolutely. Attacks like the nearest neighbor technique are scalable and relatively low risk for attackers, like in this case. First, there's no physical proximity required. You see, traditional Wi-Fi attacks often require being in close range, like sitting in a parking lot, and this method eliminates the risk entirely. This also has a broad application as the attack shows that any dense area, like an office park or apartment complex, could become a hacker's playground. And also, with the growing number of IoT devices, this means more potential entry points for attackers. Many of these devices are still lacking security defenses and measures. So, how do you protect yourself and your family and your business and stay ahead of these evolving threats? Here are a few practical steps for you. First and foremost, do everything you can to strengthen your Wi-Fi security. Always use strong unique passwords for your network. Enable WPA3 encryption if your router supports it, and regularly update your router's firmware if it supports that as well. Next, try to create separate networks for smart devices and sensitive systems like your work laptops. Many routers will allow you to have guest networks, which can help limit exposure. Next, adopt MFA anywhere and everywhere. While MFA didn't save the day in this case, applying it across all access points, including your Wi-Fi, can add critical layer of protection if that option is available for you. Another obvious thing to do is to monitor for unusual activity, even in your home. For businesses and homes, whether small or large, you can still benefit from monitoring tools that help to detect and alert unusual behavior, such as unexpected devices connecting to your network. Finally, always keep things up to date. Your smart devices, your laptop, your fridge, whatever the case is, keep things up to date to reduce the risk of known vulnerabilities being exploited. Alright, that's it for this attack breakdown. I think this attack highlights how creative and determined that threat actors like APT28 can be. This new nearest neighbor attack is a chilling reminder that even your Wi-Fi network isn't safe from nation-state level hacking groups. Either ways, what do you think about this? Do you think we'll see more of these attacks in residential or remote work setups? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely enjoy this video breakdown where a man from Kansas City, Missouri allegedly broke into multiple organizations as a way to offer his cybersecurity services. It's a crazy one. Definitely check it out.